This is Off the Break Podcast, presented by Silver Screen Insider.
Welcome back to Off the Break Podcast, your podcast dedicated to current movie theater news, operations, and insights from the people that book the movies. I'm Kyle, and joining me as always is Cody and Ken.
Hey, everyone.
Waiting for you.
Why?
Ladies first.
Oh, okay.
He's being polite.
I was trying to be polite. Somebody's got a headache, and it's Friday, and it's the end of the month, and we got lots going on.
And they moved Clifford off the release schedule, and I had entered a whole bunch of dates.
Just jump right into
Jeez.
it.
Yeah.
So let's get the bad news out of the way, because it's all going to be good news, right?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Thanks, Paramount and Paramount Plus. I have a feeling.
Yeah.
I have a very strong feeling about this.
It's a heck of a guess.
Yeah, so Clifford was just unset from the release schedule, so it was just completely taken off. It was on September 17th, which September was not looking good. I mean, we were getting a lot of stuff in August. August was great. September, it was rough to begin with. And then October looks fantastic. Like, there's just so many good titles in October. But we really needed a kids movie in September because I don't think Paw Patrol, with it being day and date with Peacock, right? Peacock? I can't keep them all straight.
Paramount Plus.
It's Paramount as well.
Yeah, that one's Paramount too.
Patrol. Okay. Whatever. I can't keep them straight. But it's going day and date, and I just don't think Paw Patrol is going to stay 4 or 5 weeks in the market.
Right.
So it is kind of a loss. Although I didn't have it going very long, I think we still needed it.
It wouldn't have hurt anything, that's for sure. It's good just to keep having kids content come out just so that way you can see if something sticks, I guess.
You know, it might be a nice vacuum for somebody, say Sony, to move up Hotel Transylvania out of that October 1st spot.
Hint, hint, nudge, nudge. Guys,
Something.
now's your time.
Yep.
It's time. There's a huge window there. I mean, opening the week after Paw Patrol would give you like 5 weeks, 6 weeks.
Yeah, until Addams Family.
Yeah, without any interruptions.
Yeah. I'd rather at least see something move up to take advantage than to possibly see something move back, which lately I've been kind of fearing that might happen. But nothing bad has happened, by the way, in terms of things moving back, but I just have this nervous feeling, and I don't like it.
I think it's because everybody's cautious right now with the Delta variant rising, and the national media narrative is that it's getting worse in some spots, and I think LA is one of those spots, and we all know that, you know, with all the studio executives living in Los Angeles, that's their perception is their reality.
Yeah,
and
only looking out that window.
Yeah, if they're seeing that the virus is rising in LA, I think that they're, you know, cautious about how to move forward.
Sure. Yeah.
So, hopefully, you know, like you said, it's not a harbinger of things to come. Clifford didn't look great. I'm not gonna lie. Like,
it was magical and charming.
It was cute, but it was live action. It wasn't an animated thing.
Sure.
It's not a huge, devastating loss. It just sucks for September. September's looking rough.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Hang in there. We're gonna be back. We're back already, but we're gonna have a normal September where we always go. It's just a dumping ground for things, and if, like we said, if one of those kid movies moves up, it'll have a lot of breathing room.
Normal.
Right.
Normal is good.
Sony, it will have a lot of breathing room.
And that's all we'll say on that.
So yeah, as far as booking strategies, that kind of switched up some September stuff, but I'm looking almost towards the end of the year, you know, just trying to get a lay of the land, see what's coming up, where my strengths and my weaknesses are. September's looking tough, but October, fantastic. We're gonna have not only are we gonna have 2 animated kids titles with Addams Family and Hotel Transylvania 4, but we're also going to have No Time to Die, which during the pandemic was one of the most requested. When's that coming out? Films. And that'll be theater exclusive, and that's going to be phenomenal. And then after that is Halloween Kills, which
Right.
It's theater exclusive.
Theater
again.
exclusive, yeah.
for a 21-day window, and that's going to be fantastic. And then what do we go into after that?
I think there's Dune as well.
yeah,
I mean,
Dune
we have
is in there.
questions about Dune, but
Dune, Jackass,
Promise.
Ron's Gone Wrong, and then we're in
Yeah.
the first week of November with Ghostbusters and Eternals.
And Eternals,
right?
yeah.
That's true.
And then we get the Thanksgiving holiday stuff, which we'll have Top Gun. We have Top Gun at Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Save us, Tom Cruise.
Yeah. And then,
As you always do.
into Christmas with a Spider-Man and a new Matrix. And
Yeah.
so, I mean, it's pretty easy to like look ahead and see, big swaths of like really good content.
Yeah. September will be kind of what Ken was saying earlier. It's that usual normal dumping ground month, but normal is kind of good at the same time. So I guess you can spin it that way. But beyond that, it is filled with promise. And that's what we're really looking forward to ever since we started seeing, theaters opening back up and things kind of becoming a more clear picture.
I just think about September is that, we always have a lull in September, and that's fine.
Yeah.
But we usually come off, $100 million summer or more.
Yeah, true.
$200 or $300 million summers, and we're not going to do that this year. And so you're really going to feel the lull so much more. It's going to be more devastating for people.
Yeah, no, the list of these films kind of reminds me of 2019 because we went through Lion King and Fast and Furious and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood was a surprise that did really well. Then we had like Dora and Brian Banks and Peanut Butter Falcon.
Yeah.
Like it was a desert as far as movies were concerned.
Yeah.
Like we were like, Peanut Butter Falcon, let's play that everywhere.
We did play it quite a few
We
places.
played
But
it
it is a
lot
great
of
movie,
places.
so I'm happy.
Yeah, but it wasn't advertised.
Sure,
I mean, the
sure.
grosses were fine, but it wasn't anything we would have played at any other time.
Right.
It was what we did because that's all we had.
It's what we did because that's what we had to do.
A September to remember.
Yeah, no kidding.
Liz here will definitely be that.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's kind of what's going on. No real big SVOG updates, just hang in there. I'm hearing more and more people every day getting approved for their loans or their grants, and so that'll be good. When the money comes in, it'll be good. And it's pretty decent timing right now, given that, we're going to have a couple more big weeks and then we're going to hit that September slump, so that extra money will come in handy.
Love it. Love to hear it.
By then, yeah. I don't know about a second round. I haven't really looked into it. I think there was some money left over, but I'm not sure what they're going to do. They barely are getting through this round. So I did get asked about a second round today, and I was just like, don't even think that far ahead. I don't know if it's going to happen.
Let's just get through this first round and then we'll talk.
Yeah. So what else we got on the docket, guys?
Well, we talked last week about booking strategies, about front loading everything.
Oh yeah, definitely.
and
And we're
adding-
seeing that there's such a drop off between the first week and the second week. And I think what you're seeing is the first week is such an event. Mm-hmm. It's like, okay, new movie, this is the opening weekend, and that creates like an event around it. But then if it's available on other platforms, then once the event part of it is gone, then there's like no repeat viewing in the theater. There's no reason to go back.
Yeah.
And we're definitely seeing a huge change in that.
But even if it's not, F9 had a huge drop. Like, it just in general, we haven't seen a movie that's held up like
No.
we're used to seeing.
No, I mean, we've had films like Cruella and Quiet Place like fall into a good spot and be consistent, but they fell pretty hard.
They still had some high
I mean, a
drop-offs.
60% drop
Yeah.
plus. So dedicate extra screens, extra showtimes to new releases, and then move on the next week.
Yep.
This isn't what we're used to, but this is the new normal right now.
Especially if the studios aren't going to let you have flexibility with your showtimes. If you're not going to be able to lose underperforming showtimes, you might as well take the whole movie off screen if possible. I mean, it's just, you might be selling out or doing pretty good on one or two, but you need to utilize that screen the whole time you're open, not just for one or two shows. And I think that's really hard because the studios are still coming at you from the perspective of like, we should be in the market 4 or 5 or 6 weeks or more. And the reality is they've ruined that extra playtime. And so they really don't deserve to be in the market that long because they don't perform. And if they don't let you have flexibility to utilize when they perform the best, then it's time to kind of move on.
But Cody, haha, we made $60 million streaming. Haha.
What'd you make after that, though? Random voice that we don't know what the reference is for?
Scarlett Johansson, very upset.
Yeah.
Yeah. Scarlett Johansson is very mad about her movie going day and date. And now she is reportedly suing Disney and is going after them so much that Disney tried to throw her under the bus in regards to it, which I don't think necessarily worked. I mean, I think the majority of people are like, no, Disney, you're in the wrong when it comes to, you know, breaching a contract for a movie that was supposed to be exclusively for theaters. So, and on top of that, we're also seeing Emma Stone now considering to be suing Disney for the same thing. And also just heard Gerald Butler might also be suing a production company for Olympus Has Fallen. Somehow they breached a contract where he hasn't seen money from that movie. So it's starting to become a thing now, and I'm kind of happy to see this chaos happening.
A little bit. I think she timed her news very well, like her lawsuit very well with the all the promotion of Jungle Cruise coming out. And you know, she did get screwed over. If all the other films in all the other Marvel films had opened to over $100 million and had made $500 million to $1 billion, and all those stars got a portion of the back end, and she gets that same deal, but then her movie, after her character is already dead, so she cannot work more in the future with this character. This is her last chance to have a solo, which was already poorly timed because she should have had a solo movie well before this point. Probably. Anyways, I feel like it was just a gimme from the studio, as it like they just didn't appreciate her as as the female superhero. Right. They give her this gimme movie. She's like, okay, this is it. This is my last chance to make the big money on this, which she deserves because she's been in it from nearly the beginning. Oh yeah, yeah. And then the pandemic hits and the studio screws her on her back end. And there's no opportunity for her to reprise her role again to make up for this. Well, she's definitely not going to come back after, you know, this feud that's now going to be waging on for a good while, because Disney was trying to blame her, or they were pretty much pointing the finger saying, how dare you, you know, complain about this when there's so much bad stuff happening to everyone else when it comes to the pandemic. And I'm like, well, yes, but you also are trying to take advantage of the situation by putting these big movies day and date because of the pandemic. Yeah. So she's essentially said that they breached her contract because when she signed her Marvel contract, there was a stipulation that it had to show in 1,500 theaters nationwide on a wide release. Yeah. So in the one hand, that was all it was put in our contract that we know of without seeing the contract. And so technically Disney had shown it on 1,500 locations. Right. I don't think that they can argue that it wasn't shown on that many. Because I'm pretty sure it had at least 3,000 locations. So about there, yeah. Yeah. So I think it showed on the number of locations that was required, but when you sign a contract 10 years ago or 15 years ago, however long it was, for your multi-pictures, there's always a certain model and a certain set of, you know, things in the marketplace that everybody is aware of. Like what a theatrical release meant something, even if it wasn't explicitly spelled out. And there was exclusivity in the theatrical marketplace, and everybody that had done these deals knew that that was the case, and they had created the deals based on that scenario. Yes. So it's really disingenuous for Disney to come back and be like, well, technically it's not explicitly written in this contract that we couldn't go day and date with this model as long as we applied to the one stipulation that was on 1,500 locations. Yeah. It's just greed. I mean, it just makes my skin crawl, because you can easily be able to compensate her like a couple of millions more. And well, I think So not only did Disney throw her character under the bus, saying that she was greedy because she had made $20 million already, and that she was awful because she's, we're in a pandemic and people are suffering. How dare she sue us during this time? But they also threw Warner Brothers under the bus, saying there's other studios doing this. And I'm like, well, Warner's went around and renegotiated with everybody.
They fixed it with most of them.
They fixed it. Yeah.
Yeah. Even Paramount got ahead of it, kind of. I mean, Krasinski and Emily Blunt, they did make headlines of like, hey, we should get compensated because of this change up. And their change up was mainly just a shorter window. But Paramount did go, okay, you're right. Yeah, and we'll do that.
And so I think, Disney probably either they negotiated and couldn't come to proper terms because she had an expectation of what she was supposed to be making, and they weren't even going to come close to that because I've heard it from them before. As a company, we're suffering too.
Right.
or they just blew her off.
Yeah.
So that'll have to be seen what happens with that. But I don't think anybody's perfectly in the right here, especially not Disney, but I don't think they're necessarily, it's a slam dunk win for her either.
Yeah. It's Emma Stone and Scarlett Johansson. So to summarize, there's a couple of colluding carrot tops considering cases for canceling cinema compensation.
That's what you were writing down, huh? Trying to come up with a good
Nailed it.
Oh, what's it called?
Sure.
Trying to come up with a good old-fashioned play on words. We'll see what the listeners think about that one or not.
Yeah, I'm sure that there's, Emma Stone, when they're saying she's considering it, that she might have been under negotiations or talking with them too, and this might be positioning on her part, and she might not actually be. But, that was probably a one-off character for her, and she probably missed out on compensation that she thought was rightly due. I think what this means moving forward is that you're not going to get the back end deals anymore. And I think you're going to see more stars flex and want to have higher upfront fees, which is kind of pre Robert Downey Jr.
Back to the scale system.
It kind of was that
quote system.
Before. Yeah. And so that's when you were paying movie stars $20 and $30 million way up front.
You heard Tom Cruise makes $20 million a film. Arnold Schwarzenegger made $30 million for Terminator 17.
Yeah, I think you're going to get back to that, but you're going to hear like 40 and 50 million. They're not going to they're not going to cheapen themselves, and that just means way more upfront costs from the studios. And I don't know financing wise, how they're going to pull those off.
Yeah,
with the amount of product that they're trying to create to sustain their various models.
I do wonder if too that means, in regards to these studios, if they're going to really make sure that they know with certainty on what movie is going to streaming, what movie is going to theaters, and unfortunately, what one's going to be going day and date. I wonder if they're going to be... I mean, obviously, this was a testing ground for all of them from the get-go, but I think especially after seeing all of these actors flexing and are going, no, like, people are coming to these movies partially because of me, so I should be compensated for theaters and for streaming, and it just makes me think that the studios are going to be a lot more careful about how these deals get worked to where, and seeing what movies will fit those deals and fit what, whether it's streaming or theaters.
Well, you've got not just actors, but agencies, you've got production, you've got directors, you've got guilds, you've got a whole industry of people around on the creative side that are saying, if you're going to change the accounting dynamics, we're going to respond in kind.
Yeah. No, Disney pissed off two women, one that skins dogs and then one that kicked the crap out of like 50 people in her last movie. Seems like a bad matchup.
It just seems like such a bad optics too. Like they treat it, for a company that wants to be so inclusive and family friendly and stuff, they really treated her so poorly. The optics on it have to be awful.
Bragged about
it's terrible.
60 million streaming.
Yeah.
So, we made all this money.
Thank you. You get none of it.
Just put that
off your hard work and your talent. We made a bunch of money. Thank you very much. Oh, and as CEO, I got a bonus because I got so many more subscribers throwing you under the bus.
I was reading on Hollywood Reporter just today that Feige was trying to make sure like this doesn't go down the route that it's going now. Like he was trying to tell Disney, hey, you got to make sure to compensate Scarlett Johansson. You got to make sure. And he apparently didn't want this to be day-to-day from the get-go, which kind of makes sense to me.
Because I think he saw the piracy issue, and he knows that everything needs to build up to a certain level, and by over supplementing all the supply side of it. Then.
Yeah, exactly. I'm sure that he was witnessing, or he at least predicted that stuff was going to happen, but he was trying to make it work behind the scenes. But I think whoever's running it now at Disney was like, no, we'll be okay. We're Disney. We're powerful against this stuff, and it's not a good look. It's not good with optics.
I think that's
the
new CEO.
I think so too.
He is not a talent guy. He is not a film production guy.
He's a numbers guy.
Yeah, he is completely a numbers guy, and in an industry where it's about relationships and talent and all of that, I think he really stepped in it on this.
Oh yeah, it's almost the same as Warner's and HBO, where the higher ups from AT&T, they're numbers guys.
Yeah,
they're a tech company. They don't understand the talent side and keeping relationships and keeping the talent happy, even though it's not necessarily a talent first industry anymore. It still is important and vital in order to keep this stuff from not working.
I just think they're gonna have a lot of other actors and creatives and production people are watching this go down, and if she doesn't win, they're gonna take note, and they're gonna be like, how did Disney prevail? Why did they prevail? What is in my contract? And I don't think that Disney's going to be in a great position. I think they're between a rock and a hard place. I think if they win on this and they don't have to pay Scarlett Johansson, they're going to pay somebody else down the road a lot more money because somebody else is going to learn from this.
Lots of people more money.
Yeah. And then
Johansson.
And then if they do have to pay her, maybe things go back, but then they've lost in their suits. So
I was just thinking about all the people floating around the idea of Marvel. Like there's always been talk of Tom Cruise and Christian Bale and people like that.
Sure.
And they're going to ask for everything up front. And know how much Tom Cruise, I mean, Jesus Christ, the guy's going to film his next movie in space.
Do you think if this becomes something like if she loses and everybody has to get upfront money, do you think you would see $100 million or 80 to 100? I mean, easily for like a Tom Cruise.
Considering how much they pay for like bad football games on television,
right?
Like those Thursday night football games.
Yeah.
Considering how much those go for, I mean, those are the same thing. It's 3 hours and it's gone forever. Mm-hmm. And this is the same what a movie is,
right?
Yeah,
especially if it's
what
streaming.
It's coming into becoming. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's going to be similar to that, where you're going to see these people like grips making $600,000 like a strength coach at Alabama.
Right.
You know what was really galling to me about Disney's statement after she had her, announced her lawsuit was that they said that she now has the opportunity to make more money, like, and be, more employed. And it's like, how can you even justify saying that? Like, but it just, I don't know.
But you're already trying to make the most money possible. That's why you're doing this in the first. I mean, it was a stupid idea to think that it works, but
she was
killed her character. Haha, she can go to Paramount. Haha.
We killed her character. We screwed her on her back end, but yet because we put it on streaming, she's able to make more money. How? She doesn't get a portion of that streaming.
Right. And it's funny to me. I think it's a minority group, but there's a small group where people are backing up Disney and Scarlett Johansson. They're like, oh, what's a couple of different million between what she has now and what she could get? And I'm like, this is a $20+ billion industry. Like, what's the difference between that?
Like, they can't afford it.
Like, why are you sticking up for the corporation over, granted, it is a millionaire actress, but she does deserve it.
But her $50 million pales into comparison of like the billions of dollars they generate off of everything.
It's just the same thing as like if a folk of the common people was trying to make their money. It's thousands of dollars. It's not compared to millions, but you're still trying to make the most money possible.
Yeah.
Like, you want to be compensated. It's the same thing.
It says Hollywood is standing up for her. I don't see a whole lot of other Avengers out there.
No.
Flapping in the breeze. I don't see Paul Rudd out there.
Yeah.
Right.
Being like, hey, you got to pay her because he got one of those sweet Ant-Man back-end deals.
Yeah, his movie came out pre-pandemic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Chris Evans is probably like, I got out the best time.
Well,
Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he got brought back for more.
Two biggest movies ever in a row.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez. It's just, I'm happy to see them, stepping up and trying to do what's right, though. Like, this, even with how big they are, they shouldn't get away with that type of thing. It's just sickening.
Yeah. No, it'll, and it's going to, I think, have a big ripple effect. And other studios saw it happening and tried to compensate, everybody for it. Mm-hmm. And I don't think Disney did a great job of that because I don't think it's in their corporate culture to really take care of their people. I think that they begrudgingly do it because of negotiations.
Yes, I agree.
They only want to take care of shareholders.
Yes. Remember when movies were fun?
Yeah. Well, we'll see what happens with that. That'll be one we'll probably talk about a lot and we'll be watching because it'll really change. Now, I'm sure that Dwayne Johnson and Emily Blunt are really watching this. Who knows? Because Jungle Cruise is day and date, and I'm going to see it. See,
I think Emily Blunt was probably pretty well versed in this. I don't think it got much further after the Quiet Place thing.
I don't know.
You don't know.
Because wouldn't Disney have been like, oh, but we're compensating Dwayne Johnson and Emily Blunt. See, we're good people. I don't know if they've compensated them yet.
Maybe they're going to wait
that would
and
be
see.
the easiest counter argument.
Yeah.
We're not all bad. We compensated Dwayne Johnson. Everyone loves him.
Yeah. Hopefully they didn't piss off Cruella, Black Widow, and then The Rock.
That'd be the worst thing to do.
It's like real life Avengers.
They're going to have their endgame moment here.
Yeah.
Watch out.
Yeah.
They're coming for you guys.
Now, apparently Shang-Chi is going to be theater exclusive.
Seems like it.
So maybe this problem of day and dating will work itself out.
Hopefully.
Because you know what? She also, and it's not being talked about, she also lost out big time on back end because of piracy. It wasn't so much that they were able to put it on Disney Plus. I think she could say that they hurt her and cost her income because of the piracy issue. They didn't make secure, the film enough. And
totally.
And that's I think that's gonna be an interesting topic to move forward on.
Speaking of that, I've been noticing a lot more talk about piracy issues ever since we brought it up, maybe a few weeks ago, 2 or 3 weeks ago. So I like to think that we were the reason why these talks are happening now. So you're welcome, everyone. Pat ourselves on the back there.
Good job. Good job, SSI team.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. We can move on to some more trailers. We got a bunch this week.
Yeah.
So you know how you said like October and November look really good? Well, we watched a bunch of trailers for that Thanksgiving holiday dropped.
Yeah.
Seems like
What
it.
was your favorite one this week?
I don't know. I actually really liked the House of Gucci trailer. I don't know if I'm going to like the movie, but I found the trailer very appealing and I really like...
Because of Gaga?
Yeah, I really love my Lady Gaga. She's awesome.
So like the 4 big trailers were that King Richard, was that right? King Richard came out this week?
Yeah.
The Card Counter and Ghostbusters Afterlife. I'm kind of with Cody. I think House of Gucci does look like the more appealing movie and had the better trailer. I think Ghostbusters is probably going to be the more widespread movie based on the name.
Way more commercial.
Yeah.
Looks fun.
I mean, it looks good. It looks fine. It's just a franchise that doesn't need to be a franchise to me. You know what I mean? Like, it has its fan base, but, like, do we really need to have a big franchise for Ghostbusters?
I like the addition of Paul Rudd. I don't like how it's, like, teenagers.
Stranger Things
vibes.
Sure.
I don't like the Stranger Things vibe. I like Paul Rudd. I hope to bring back the other guys. And go from there
Yeah.
on that one. I don't have very high expectations for Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
I think it will be a better movie than the last one.
Oh, infinitely better than the last one.
But
That one
that's a
was
low
just-
bar.
yeah.
So
Yeah. I'm pumped about the card counter with Oscar Isaac.
I just really liked Oscar Isaac in it.
I love card movies and gambling movies, and there hasn't. I mean, Molly's Game was really good. That was a few years ago, but I need this in my life. Well,
this is like more than just a gambling movie. There's like a twist and his backstory,
great.
and it's
deceit,
very a
a little espionage.
And who's the gal in it?
Tiffany
Yeah.
Haddish. Yeah.
That was an interesting pairing.
Yeah.
So until I had seen the House of Gucci, my favorite was Card Counter as well, just because Oscar Isaac is, I don't know if it's that charming, but it's that star quality where you're just captivated by him on screen.
By his on-screen presence. Yeah.
Yeah, by his face, Cody.
By his face.
Hey, whatever
It's
works.
on-screen presence.
Whatever
Ken.
it is, I get it though.
I think Tom Cruise has that too, though. And Brad Pitt and all of the really
Leo.
big, Leo. They all have that something about them that you're just captivated. They don't, but Leo's getting a little butterface there, so
Yeah, he had his time.
he
gets it.
time. Yeah.
Wouldn't he be the opposite of a butterface?
No.
Because he's all chubby.
I guess he's all chubby in the face, so maybe.
But speaking of on-screen presences, what about Will Smith, who is in the lead role in King Richard?
That one was good.
Yeah.
I feel like that's going to be really inspirational.
Seems like it.
This
yeah.
is like the pursuit of happiness, but like
Sports.
yeah. I mean, it's more relatable. Not everyone has been in deep, like sleep in a subway poverty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But everybody's had a coach. Everybody's had a father. Everybody's had someone that pushed them to do something, whether good or bad. Like this one is very relatable.
I liked it too because you know that they attained success. I know it's based on real people.
They being Serena
Yeah.
and Venus Williams,
And
which
they-
the movie's about.
Yeah, and they attained huge success, and so I do like how it really pushes you and to in a positive direction
Right.
on that. Like, never give up. I believe in you. I love all that messaging.
Yeah. At the same time, I hope it's that, but also shows the connotations that come with, having a father figure who is that driven to, I'm sure, like, to where they've become, like, it was good of him to do, but there also must have been, like, some, really hard times where I don't want them to, like, gloss over.
Yeah, we were talking about this. If it's going to be a glancing blow, or if it's going to be full frontal parental like verbal abuse.
Yeah.
Like here it is.
I don't think
I'm
it'll be
wondering-
that.
I know. I don't think it will either.
Right.
But if it does, it could cross a line. It could be the killing a child in the movie, or having someone above the title die in the first 10 minutes.
Sure.
Like it could be one of those things.
Sure. Yeah.
The beginning is a flashback where he's just berating his children, and it's like ruh-roh.
Thought this was supposed to be a happy story. You're not happy.
This is no Kurt Warner bagging groceries and then finding God. There's no inspiration in this.
By
Is
the
that
way,
that American Underdog?
yeah,
Damn
where's that?
right.
Where's that trailer Lionsgate? I'm very curious about
Yeah.
that movie.
I'm just pumped to see a high V on screen for the first time in cinematic history.
Sure.
Where there's a helpful smile in every aisle.
Oh my gosh. That's your Midwest roots coming out.
Damn right.
Sure is.
Iowa Barnstormers.
All right, so I think that wraps up all the topics that we have for the day, right?
Yes, I have to make a confession, guys. I just talked so bad about Disney and blah, 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 but we got Disney Plus at the house.
Oh,
Now,
My God.
I justified it because I need to know now when stuff is still on premium access. There's not like a place to go to look for those dates. And so we are going to start adding that to silverscreeninsider.com
for research.
so I can tell like
Yeah.
right now Cruella is still on premiere access. So that's great. Rhea is not, and Black Widow is. So I mean, it's just I had to be able to like log in and see. But I will be paying premium access for Jungle Cruise. Wow. Now, hear me out.
Even I'm not doing that.
I know. It makes me really sick to my stomach
Traitor!
to talk about it. I do very much feel like a traitor. But our local theater is so bad. And it is so poorly run. I took my 5-year-old son to Space Jam. And it was our first movie back in a really long time. We were doing a mom-son date. It was just a special outing for us. And it was one of the worst theatrical experiences I have ever had. And the movie was great. The movie was fun and he enjoyed it. But it took 20 minutes or more to get through the concession line. There weren't that many people there. But it was just the workers were slow. The guy that was in the box wasn't helping them. He was just standing there like twiddling his thumbs, doing nothing.
Idiot.
Yeah, he did. He looked like an idiot just standing there. He wasn't floating, so that was poorly managed. I got our stuff just in time for the movie to start, so we missed all the previews, which is probably okay. But then they didn't have the right aspect ratio on the movie, and it was blurry and in the wrong in the wrong setting the whole movie. And because I was with a 5-year-old, I couldn't just leave him alone in the auditorium to go say something. I was hoping somebody else would, but apparently I was in a room full of morons and nobody was saying anything. And it just...
You mean theater patrons?
Sorry.
That we all know and love?
Yes, those people. And it just ruined it for me. So I refuse to go to my local cinema. And it's not an independent. It is a national chain. It's a Regal.
I was going to say it rhymes with Smeagol.
Yeah,
but
it is a Regal.
It smells like a beagle.
It hasn't been
wet one.
It hasn't been updated in like 15, 20 years since it was built. It's these same seats as when it was built. It's like why I completely understand why consumers don't want to go and spend a whole bunch of money. I spent extra money to get concessions and stuff and had the worst experience. And I think that, in this day and age of where we're being attacked by windowing and technology and changing consumer habits, our biggest threat is just poorly run theaters. I am a person that's so loyal and dedicated to theaters and the theatrical experience. Yeah, I can't bring myself to go to the theater because I was such a waste of money and it was so off-putting my experience.
Right.
And I just wanted to bring it up that even I am looking at Disney Plus and stuff now on Jungle Cruise because I just can't spend the money. I can't do it there anymore because it's not the experience I should be having. And that is, to me, the biggest threat to our industry is that poorly run, mismanaged, cheapened corporate experience.
Yeah. No, I totally get it. I mean, I definitely I've had my fair share of bad experiences. Some of them I've probably been a bit too forgiving because I understand it's new people trying to work and trying to understand the job. But there's also a fine line where the corporation itself needs to realize what their industry is heading towards, unless if they set an example and set things right for itself and by making the necessary updates. And when you're not going to do that, you're not going to see the outpouring of people to a theater. And, maybe local theaters have a chance and can take advantage of that if other corporations aren't taking advantage of it either. Maybe AMC's doing it better. I don't know. But
I totally wish we had an independent high-end theater with luxury recliners, dine-in options, food and alcohol, and I mean that's the experience I want. I will gladly spend so much money to have that experience.
Totally.
And on top of that, I want it to be run efficiently. I want to get in. I don't want to have to wait in line too long for anything. I want the presentation to be on par because I'm paying for that. I'm paying the extra for that. Otherwise, my TV works great and I have high definition at home and yummy snacks. And that is our big battle. And if they can't produce an experience that's better than what I get at home, then I don't know why I'm ever choosing them.
Yeah, I mean, that's why for, even the common folk that doesn't understand differences between, scope versus flat pictures, even they're like, I don't want to go back because I've had a full year of knowing how to update my experience in my home alone, and if a theater nearby me isn't doing that, then what's the point?
Yeah.
But if Regal did want to upgrade, say, their concessions or cleaning supplies or seats, they could get a subscription to Silver Screen Insider and check out the buyer's guide.
Oh yeah. And find a new concessionaire, new popcorn vendor, all those new vendors. Really up your game.
Projection equipment.
And you should be getting your SVOG grant, so now's the time. Now's the time to like revamp those operations.
So what we're saying is just get that Silver Screen Insider subscription, and you'll get a better theater out of it.
Yeah. Now there are other little theaters, but I have to drive half an hour over a pass to get to the next local theater, and part of me wants to do that on some films, but when
not for all.
I just can't. That's so far out of that's above and beyond
exactly
the convenience.
You're not going to drive an hour round trip to see a movie based on an outdated Disney ride?
No, I'm not going to do it.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, the fact that people within our industry don't even want to go to movie theaters is just...
It was shocking. It was the
shocking.
first time I've ever considered it. It has never... The only other time was Mortal Kombat, and that's because our theater here was closed. And I was like, well, it's going to be on HBO Max, and I've got to see this movie, so I'm going to do it. And I did it, and it was fine. I think it would have been so much better in a theater. And I can guarantee you Jungle Cruise would be so much better in a properly run, updated... nicely managed theater.
Yeah,
it would be the best experience you could have. I'm just not getting that here, and it's I can't invest in that theater anymore. It's just bleh.
I get it.
Speaking of Mortal Kombat, I watched the entire movie the other day in 7 minutes.
What?
Fast forwarding just to the fighting scenes, and the movie went from a C to an A-.
Would recommend.
Highly recommend. Seeing as how Warner Brothers makes all these weird Snyder cuts and is willing to do this, let's do the 7-minute version. WB.
Release the 7-minute cut
of Mortal Kombat.
Mortal Kombat.
It's just arms and legs being ripped off for 7
and
straight minutes.
And blood pools like.
Yeah.
This is cinema.
420 seconds of death and destruction. That's what I want. Also make it for Godzilla. All right, I'm done.
I'm done too. That was my soapbox rant. I wasn't here last week to tell everybody about my experience, and then we had this big discussion about Disney, and I was like, I just got to relate, like,
yeah, I'm glad you did.
Where I'm at. And
So,
it sucks. I like to go back. I can always go back, people.
If there's change,
I will gladly change back to my old habits.
Just put all your hate comments on our post at Silver Screen Insider.
I know, I'm a traitor. It's terrible.
Facebook, Instagram, there's comment sections all over. Go ahead.
Yep. Drop a bomb on her.
How about you drop a bomb on Regal and be like, get your shit together, Regal.
Yeah.
Come on.
I couldn't agree with you more. All right, everyone. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Off the Break podcast. You can find us on all podcast platforms and over at silverscreeninsider.com, to where, we kept saying Regal. If you wanted some new equipment, we have a buyer's guide to where it has like all the latest equipment information and all the different phone numbers that you can just be one call away from changing your experience. But also, if you're a theater owner or manager needing updated and accurate film information and marketing assets for all those movies, check us out there.
Keep those mean comments PG-13. That means one F word.
Right.
No. How about 0 F words?
Bye, everybody.
Bye.